Obviously, again, we're talking about the AFC West. Let's talk about the Raiders. Raiders last year,
The Raiders.
brutal season at 6-11. It was a tough one to watch because everybody was so hopeful. That being said, they weren't terrible for fantasy. If you had Josh Jacobs or if you had Devontae Adams, you were rolling in your leagues because those guys showed up and showed up big. So to me, I still have faith in Devontae Adams. Jimmy G is going to be throwing the ball instead of Derek Carr. I don't love that, but that doesn't help me shy away from Devontae Adams. He's still one of the best receivers. We had him as our number 5 receiver in our rankings. I still like him. If I'm at the end of the draft, in terms of 10, 11, 12, there's probably a good chance I'm grabbing him at some point. Or if I'm on the return in the middle and he falls down to me, I'm going to grab him because he's just a touchdown machine and he gets open. And he's, to me, one of the best red zone threats out of those top guys. Him and Jamar Chase out of the top probably 7 wide receivers they're the best red zone threats. They're going to be open in the end zone and find opening, and they're targeting the end zone more than the other guys. So I like that. I think Josh Jacobs, if he plays, is another great option. I think people are going to be scared of it until we find out if he's not going to sit out. So he could slip down in drafts, and that's one of the ones where you take a shot. Hey, maybe he plays, maybe he doesn't. But if he does, you hit a home run. Jimmy G is not on my draft list. I just don't like what he can do. He can give you your 20 points that you need here and there, but there's other quarterbacks that have higher ceilings. And then to me, the tight end role, I know Jimmy G loves his tight ends. You have Michael Mayer out there, the rookie, but you also have a little bit more crowded out there. What is it? O.J. Howard is there now as well.
And Austin Hooper.
So you look at it all. I just don't know if I want to take a shot late on any of those guys, especially a rookie. But
listen, I think I like the weapons here. Like, they got weapons. I think
they
this is
a
more talented group than they have. Jacoby Myers is a number 2. Hunter Renfrow is still in the slot. Darren Waller didn't stay healthy last year, so they have 3 tight ends that can play the position.
mm-hmm.
I think Mayer is going to actually surprise a lot of people. We talked about how much Jimmy G likes his tight ends. You have 2-3 guys that can be serious pass catchers with the ball in their hands. I think Jimmy G's underrated. He passed his medicals, so that whole story was, kind of bizarre that he wasn't going to pass the medicals and the physical. But I think he fits into this offense really well. Kind of what they want to do. He knows this offense, from his time with the Patriots. So yeah, this is going to be one of those teams where if Josh Jacobs doesn't play, if he sits out, I think this team's going to struggle a lot because their identity is to run the football and play action off of it. And it's where Jimmy G's been the most successful in his career, is when he has a strong running attack and is able to play action off of that. If we're going to ask him to just play in shotgun and try to just go out duel people, they're going to lose a lot of games. And I don't think that's what they want to do. I think if they're going to do that, they'd better off just playing the young guy with Aiden O'Connell and seeing what they have in him. But there's too much talent on this team for them to do that. Like, I think that they are in a kind of a win now mode. You have 2, I would say, top end receivers. I think Jacoby Myers has that talent there. Is he a top 10 receivers, top 15 receiver? No. Hunter Renfrow is a great slot receiver. And you have a number 5 guy that we have ranked in Devontae Adams. Like, they have quality guys there. This defense, and let me be very clear about this give up so many points and they cannot cause turnovers. They can't stop anything in the passing game. So they're going to be playing from behind it. And if they can't control the line of scrimmage, and if they can't run the football properly and efficiently, then I don't see this team being very good, which means it's good for fantasy perspective because you're going to have a lot of receivers catching a lot of balls.
Yeah, but I agree with you on the defensive side of stuff. So here's my only opinion in what you say. The team needs to run the ball effectively for Jimmy G to be effective. That's been shown. He has loved his tight ends when he's played there, but we are having a small sample size. I mean, he had Gronk for when he had to fill in for Tom Brady, and then he had Kittle, two fantastic tight ends in terms of athleticism and ability, and they both shown they could do it without Jimmy G as well. I don't see that kind of talent there, except Michael Mayer, but I just don't see him breaking through early and often for the Raiders. So I want Davante Adams here.
They said the same thing about Kittle, though, when he was a rookie. And look what he did his rookie year.
Yeah, but it was a different offense. It was a different offense, and it was also a different – I mean, listen, Shanahan, completely different situation.
It was, but there's going to be aspects of that. So I like Mayer. I've been on record as saying I like Mayer late in the draft as a tight end, as a sleeper tight end this year. But I wanted to ask you, like, all right, if Josh Jacobs does not play this year, where do you take Zamir White?
If he doesn't, if we know he's not playing at all this year, period, or are we saying
Josh Jacobs holds out?
If he holds out, and we know he's holding out for the
Josh
entire year,
out. Correct. He does not sign a franchise tag. He's holding out. Where do you take Zamir White?
If he's holding out and there's a chance he signs after week 1 or something, I'm not taking him that early at all. But if he holds out and it's for the entire season, I'm taking a shot at Zamir White, probably where you'd see in a running back 2 range in probably 6th round, I'd say. Because I just think at that point, like, to put your eggs in the Zamir White basket is a little bit iffy. The guy was not a all-around 3-down back at Georgia. He was a 5-star recruit coming out of high school, has had multiple ACL injuries, I believe. But in college, he split time with these other flashier running backs that were able to do stuff out of the backfield. I don't like anybody else behind him, to be honest with you. So I would take a shot on him.
Yeah, you like Amir Abdullah?
No. That's what I'm saying. I would take a shot on him. Maybe 6th round. Like, the earliest I would go would be 5th round. And if that's because I'm at the 1, 2, 3 pick and he's not going to make it back to me in the 6th round, and I want my second running back there or somebody, and I don't like any of the other options, but it would be situational in that case. Otherwise, 6 is the earliest I'm taking him.
I'll say this about the Raiders. Let's more specifically Davante Adams. All right, I'm so glad I'm going to be in the top 4 picks because I have a feeling this year that Davante Adams is going to drop in drafts, and this is like, we still have him ranked as our 5th best fantasy receiver, but I have a feeling a lot of people are just going to be like, I don't want a piece of this, and he might get drafted maybe in the early 2nd round.
I could see him going mid-2nd round. Yeah, I could see him going mid-2nd round because people start to get spooked.
I would see people like drafting Diggs over him, and like CeeDee Lamb over him.
Which you could argue those, but you could argue all those guys there.
I could, but like I'm really glad I'm not in that middle range of guys to have to make that decision,
to make that pick.
If he's there in the 2nd round, if I'm picking 1, 2, or 3, and he's there in the 2nd round for me, like, all right, cool. Like, I feel great about that pick.
Yeah.
But do you feel great if you're the 7th pick and Tyreek's off the board and Cooper Kupp's off the board and Chase is off the board and Jefferson's off the board? And
you're sitting there and you don't like the running backs around you either.
And you're sitting there and you have Chubb, Henry, and Davante Adams. Like, what are you doing?
Well, I'm taking Chubb in that case because
I'm probably going Chubb.
He's the only one
right.
But again, you talk about consistency. You know, to me, Davante Adams has proven it too as well. So
I know. I'm just saying I'm glad that I'm not in that position. I'm glad that, you know, the way we chose our draft order has me in the top 3 pick.
Yeah, I mean, listen, without Aaron Rodgers in his career, he obviously had a fantastic season last year. He had 13? What do you have? 14 touchdowns, 13 touchdowns? Last year, you know, fantastic season. But you can go back to 2017, 2017 and 2021. 2021 without Aaron Rodgers. He had a 126-yard game on 8 catches. He had a 2-touchdown performance on 10 catches, 84 yards. He had another 82 yards and a touchdown, 90 yards and a touchdown. But he also had some duds.
He was a stud last year.
He also had some duds as well. Well, it's not last year. I'm talking about 2017 when there was a chunk of time without Aaron Rodgers there. And so I'm just saying that season in 2017 was the only other sample size besides a one game in 2021 where he didn't have Aaron Rodgers. And those games, it was probably, I'd say 1, 2, 3, 4 it was probably 50-50 games. He performed well and 50-50 not. And I'm not going to go back and look at who was throwing him the ball there. That being said, I have confidence that this guy's got the ability to break inside the top 5 finish again this year, even without him. So I like him.
I do too. I'm thankful I'm not in that second tier of picks in the middle of the draft where like I have to make the decision whether I want, Chubb, Henry, or him. And then Jonathan Taylor, and then have the choice on CeeDee Lamb. Like if he's there again in the second round, like I think that's great value for him. You're getting a guy that slipped down to you, but like I because of Jimmy G there, I have real hesitation with drafting him ahead of some other guys, especially in other positions. Like I would take Kels over him.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Kels to me is another one. When you're in that 6, 7, 8, 9 range, and you're choosing between taking a receiver or running back, or Travis Kels, you sit there and you think to yourself, who's off the board, and who's left on the board that I have confidence week in and week out is going to perform as a top pick for me, and that's who you got to pick. So we talk about Chubb, we talk about Henry. Davante Adams is going to have that question mark this year for sure. He didn't have it last year because people were so stoked about him with Derek Carr, back to college days. He's a gunslinger, all this stuff. And that's great. And it worked out in favor of Davante Adams. It didn't work out in favor of Carr. But to me, I just think at the end of the day, Travis Kelce in that position would be even a better choice just because he's consistent year in, year out. It's a top 2 option. But you're right. I am waiting to see where Davante Adams falls in drafts, especially our draft, because, again, you and me are probably going to be a top 3 pick for our league here. And if he falls down into that second round, I'd be an idiot not to take him there, because what other receiver are you going to find at the end of the second round that's going to have a caliber as him?
Right.
You know what I mean? So, I mean, you look at Davante Adams, week 16. Let me pull up his stats.
Stidham was playing, and he had 2 touchdowns.
He had a massive game that game.
Yeah, but the other 2 games the other 2 games he didn't do well at all. So I mean, yeah, we're talking like small sample size, but like he had 1 out of 3 games that without Derek Carr where he was an elite guy, and the other 2 games he was not just not elite, like he disappeared.
Yeah, no, I mean, week 17 was Stidham. He didn't have any touchdowns, and it was against Kansas City. It was a tough game. They lost 31-13. He still had 9 targets, 5 catches for 73 yards. So, those aren't, terrible, terrible numbers. I mean, but you're right, though. Week 16, that San Francisco game, which lost me the championship against you because McCaffrey had to keep playing and playing and playing, in a 37-34 loss for the Raiders. He had 7 catches for 153 and 2 touchdowns. So
that was a week after. Week 17 was our.
Oh, you're right. We said that was the week after. You're right.
But I still smoked you.
But you look at everything combined here. He's had multiple 100-yard games last year with Derek Carr. He had a game with 17 targets. He had a streak of 5 weeks in a row of 11 or more targets. That's what you want out of a wide receiver 1. I don't see those targets changing. I see them being consistent. I see Jimmy Garoppolo needing a go-to receiver. And as much as you want to say like, oh, Jimmy G's going to love the type of receiver that, Hunter Renfrow may be, or what's his name who came over from the Patriots? Why am I drawing a blank? Jacoby Myers. Because of their short routes and quickness and all that, you can't knock that Jimmy G's going to want to throw to his stud veteran wide receiver. So I'm taking a chance on him again. Though I don't. If you're at the end of the draft, my only advice is make a tiers list based on your rankings. Take a look at where you have guys, and don't sit there shooting yourself in the foot by trying to take a chance on a guy. If you have Devontae Adams, a tier above, or the number one guy in his tier, and the other two guys are sitting there, and you're like, do I go with AJ Brown? Do I go with Devontae Adams? Do I go with all the guys in this list? Whoever's highest ranked above them, take them, because that's where you're going to be. You know what? I had him ranked there. It was my decision. I liked him there. I made that choice. Otherwise, you're going to sit there going back and forth, and you're going to take all the time on the clock to just make a pick, and it may be the wrong one, may not be the one that you really, really wanted. So that's my advice on a situation with Devontae Adams this year. If everybody above him is already picked, go for him. If you still got people ranked above him and you have more confidence in those guys, take the Stephon Diggses. Take the A.J. Browns. So Vegas has Vegas at a 6.5 wins this year.
Fair enough.
Last year I believe they hit the 6-win mark. They were 6-11. They had a bunch of games, especially that Patriots game. The Patriots win gave them this a win, but there were a lot of games on the other end where if you took their record, I believe I saw a stat last year. If you took their record and all one-score games that were losses for them were then wins, they would have led the AFC. That's how many close games they had. So to me, I like the over on the 6. I think they can hit a 7-win game here at the least. Again, the Broncos aren't anybody to write home about. The Chargers always find ways to give up games as well, no matter who they have coaching for them. And they give some teams, look at the hard time they gave San Francisco with a backup quarterback. They give teams a hard time because they're still playmakers, like you said, on this team. So I would take the over on that one.
This also feels like a bait bet. Feels like a bait bet. Like 6 wins, 6.5 wins. They're going to get 7. They're going to get 7. They're going to get 5.
Yeah.
No, they're going to. I'd probably take the under. I'd probably take the under on this. I think, you kind of start off this section talking about how you like 3 of the 4 teams. This is the team we don't like. And, if the other 3 teams are going to be good teams and you're going to have playoff contenders of the other teams, then someone's going to be really bad in that division. And this is it. And I think that they're going to.
Listen, they play other teams. They're playing Green Bay with Jordan Love at prime time this year. They're playing Chicago if they can keep Justin Fields in check. They played the New York Giants.
You're hating on Chicago a lot. Just wait till we get to that. Wait till
when we get to that. I am. But they play Pittsburgh. They open the season against Denver. I feel like they can sneak, a thing here and there. Like I said, Los Angeles has a way of losing games to people when they shouldn't lose games.
Again.
And they play Indianapolis. So
let me pull we talked about Hard Knocks, right? Let me pull one of my favorite players from that era of the Jets, and his name is Mr. Bart Scott, okay? Their defense is 25th in the league, and they can't stop a nosebleed, all right? They are bad. This is a Swiss cheese defense. They are a bad defense, and they can't stop the passing game. And look at who's in their division. Like, if you can't stop the passing game, and you have to face Kansas City and the Chargers.
No, it's true. And I'm not saying the division. I'm saying I'm even saying that they say they split with Denver and somehow split with the Chargers and don't win a game again. It's only 2 wins in the division. I'm saying their out of division games aren't like the hardest schedule for anybody out there. So I could see them getting 7 wins. I don't see them getting more than 7, but I could see them edging out 7 wins. Again,
I'm gonna say 5.
Okay.
I'm gonna say 5.
Well, let's finish up with our last team, and this